The Detroit Red Wings just put the NHL on notice after extending their win streak to 4 games just last night. After losing to the Montreal Canadiens for the first game of this season, this team has been hot, winning 4 of their last 4 with a big win in overtime. We have a lot of news to break down around Detroit, some injury news as well we're going to touch later on in this video. But before that, let's just jump right into last night's game. Just taking a look here from Winged Wheel Podcast. They kind of broke down the game perfectly here, saying it's 4 straight dubs for the Red Wings here. Dylan Larkin with a beauty goal in overtime last night to seal the deal for the Red Wings. And we also got to see Sandin-Pellikka's first NHL career goal, which was a beauty one to put them up 1-0 in the game. Also, John Gibson having his first win as a Red Wing, a great bounce back win after, the first start he had where he was pulled. Great to see him back and in great shape here. We're going to dive into the goal and the goalie in a little bit, but there was a perfect penalty kill for the team last night, and a lot of young guys that they got on the team are stepping up in a big way for Detroit. And I think coming into this season, a lot of people kind of had the Detroit Red Wings kind of at the bottom of their Atlantic Division leaderboard. I think a lot of people kind of seen the Montreal Canadiens, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Florida Panthers, the Tampa Bay Lightning, even the Ottawa Senators, and kind of said, hey, these guys are going to finish above the Red Wings. But what we've seen from the start of this season after losing that first game is a team that wants to win and want to get back into playoff hockey, and I think it's perfect here. What the Detroit Red Wings have done, the team they've built in their rebuild, they have so many great young stars there as well, some established players there as well, like Patty Kane, DeBrincat, guys like that. So I really do think that it's Detroit's time now, and we see this now. They're at the top of the Atlantic Division, tied for the Montreal Canadiens. Both teams 4-1 to start the season with 8 points on the year, and I think this is the year the Red Wings kind of take the next jump. We've kind of been waiting for it the last couple of years. They've kind of always been battling for the wild card spot and just haven't been able to get in there, but now we're seeing this team finally, get that chemistry together, and they look great together on the ice. And as we alluded to earlier, Axel Sandin-Pellikka got his first NHL career goal, which is great for him to get that off of his back now. It was his first point through the first 5 games was that goal. But from what we've seen from a lot of these younger defensemen that they do have, especially Sandin-Pellikka, he's ready to step up, and he's ready to be that second pairing defenseman for this Detroit Red Wings team. There's no doubt about that. And also John Gibson, we alluded to it earlier in the video. He had a big bounce back game. You see him in the first game. He got pulled after 13 shots. And then you see him last night. Goes out, makes 31 saves on 32 shots with a huge overtime win. This is big for John Gibson. I mean, this is a guy who has been a stellar goalie throughout his entire NHL career with the Anaheim Ducks and has never really got to taste, playoff hockey in a very long time. And no doubt that he wants to get back to trying to fight for Stanley Cup as well. And we see him, have a first shaky start, but it kind of seems like he's settled now. I mean, he was out of he wasn't in Anaheim for a very long time. I mean, he was there for pretty much his whole career. I believe it was his whole career. And now, he had to get settled in his new home in Detroit, and he just looked like he's going to be a very stable goalie this year and be very strong for this team and try to get them over that hump and into a playoff spot, especially from what we've seen last night. Hopefully he can keep that up. And if we just take a look here from Jay Fresh, he says the Red Wings are 4-1-0. But you wouldn't have guessed it if you look at their 5-on-5 numbers. You see here on the bottom right, 5v5 goals for versus against. They're letting up, about 2.5 goals, goals against per 5v5, and their actual 5v5 numbers are 1.5 right now. So they're letting in about 3, and they're only getting 1.5 themselves. So they're getting a lot of offense through the power play, through shorthanded goals. And this is, obviously this is going to change. This is just for the now for the Detroit Red Wings. They're not going to, these numbers are going to go up. It's only 5 games. It's a small sample size. They are going to score more goals 5v5, but it does, say a lot about this team. They're getting the job done. They're winning games without even scoring goals on 5v5. So when those numbers start to go up, it's only going to make to get the team better as well, because their special teams are effective right now and they are working. But when they finally get the gel, I mean, there's a lot of new lines here and a lot of different combinations for the Red Wings this year. So once these guys build some chemistry, they get settled into the season, those 5v5 numbers will for sure go up. And if we just keep going on here, we look at the team leaders so far this season for the Detroit Red Wings. Dylan Larkin, what a great start to the year. Like I said, he was the overtime hero against the Tampa Bay Lightning. 7 points through 5 games, 3 goals, 4 assists. Dylan Larkin is here. He's still the player that he's been throughout his entire career in the Detroit Red Wings, especially taking a big jump here at the beginning of the season. And like I said, DeBrincat, having 6 assists to start the year, hasn't got on his name in the goal category yet, but has set up a lot of fantastic goals. If you watched much Red Wings hockey, you would know that. Patrick Kane, we are going to talk a little about an injury bug that maybe he picked up in this last game, but he leads, or he's third on this team for 5 points, 2 goals, 3 assists. Defying father time, Patrick Kane has really stepped it up since they gave him a shot. Since the Red Wings gave this guy a shot, he's really stepped up and said, I can still play after his surgery. And I think these top 3 guys we talk about, especially Appleton, a new face coming in, 4 points for the kid through 5 games, and Lucas Raymond, who does have a touch of the injury bug as well, who we're going to talk on later in the video. But you see guys like Patrick Kane and Mason Appleton come in right off the bat, make an impact. And Patrick Kane, you know, a lot of teams ruled him out, but Detroit gave him a shot, and you see how that's paying off. And there's no doubt that Patrick Kane is getting to the end of his career. He wants to get back into playoff hockey, and so do guys like DeBrincat and Larkin as well. And I do think this is the team that will do it. I mean, looking, like I said, we alluded to the injury bug. Patrick Kane has an upper body injury now, and he won't be in the lineup against Edmonton on Sunday. Hopefully that is not serious, and hopefully we do get to see him back in the next game after Edmonton. And Lucas Raymond, he's been day-to-day. He's been out for a little while now, and it just seems like he's a guy who is going to get back into this lineup when he's feeling healthy and when he feels the need to. I mean, right now, the team's 4-1. You know, he can take an extra game off if he needs to, but I know Lucas Raymond is buzzing to get back into this lineup. Guys have been waiting all summer long for hockey to start up, so they're going to want it. This is, you know, they are still winning games without Lucas Raymond, even though he's one of their top point getters through the first few games of this season. I really do think we look at this lineup for the Detroit Red Wings. Obviously, this is their lineup from the last game. Once you get Raymond back in here, maybe he goes back up on the top line with Larkin and Finney here. But I do like DeBrincat down here on this second line. I think he's been a staple for this team and has really electrified the offense on this second line. But, you know, if you got a top line of Larkin, DeBrincat, and Raymond, these guys are going to go off. And there's no doubt about it. And then throughout the first little bit of this season as well, we have seen some contribution from the bottom 6. A lot of contribution from the penalty kill as well for this team. And their defense has really been solid this year. I mean, the first game where we seen John Gibson, you know, they were kind of like, okay, maybe it is the Anaheim situation. There's a lot of people saying, no, maybe the defense isn't it. But from what we've seen over these last 4-game stint, the defense has been solid. It's definitely in their own end as well. And we see a lot of guys like Mo Seider and Ben Sherratt. I think these guys pair up very well. Mo Seider, you know, he's more two-way, can lean offensive at times, and you got Big Ben Sherratt there is going to lay the body. There's no doubt about that. And Simon Edvinsson and Sandin-Pellikka, I've liked the sample size we have seen from them so far this season. I think these guys are going to be a good pairing. I think Pellikka now, he finally gets his first point. I think we're going to see that guy buzzing out there, and he's going to want to be getting on the stat sheet a little bit more. And from what we've seen from him, you know, in the World Juniors especially, he was a great player in that tournament, and I think he's going to carry that on to now his time in the NHL. It's just a matter of time before we see that guy going. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you think about the Detroit Red Wings? I think right now they just put the NHL on notice by saying, we're here. We're not going to finish middle table in the Atlantic Division anymore. We are going to get us a spot in the playoffs this season. So I really like what we're seeing out of them. once we get this team fully healthy again, Patrick Kane, Lucas Raymond back into this lineup, I think this team is going to keep continuing on the win streak. Want to hear, what do you guys think? Where do you think this win streak ends? I'm going to say that they got the next one against Edmonton. I think we could see this win streak potentially get up to 6, maybe 7 games. I would love to see that for Red Wings fans out there. Want to hear your guys' thoughts on everything we talked about in this video. Make sure down below and hit that subscribe button. But as always, I've been your host, Casey. We'll catch you in the next one.